Things in Clemson, South Carolina, they're getting crazy. Clemson, as of right now, has the number 2 recruiting class for the 2026 recruiting cycle. And just a few moments ago, if you haven't seen it, watch this video first and go watch the other one. Clemson just received another commitment, this time from 4-star safety out of Ohio. Yeah, the defending national champions, they're up there. Caden Gebhardt just committed to Clemson, cited Tom Allen as one of the main reasons that he committed to the Tigers. And now Clemson, as I said, according to 24/7 Sports, and I'll share this with you in just a moment, has the number 2 overall ranking composite as well for the 2026 cycle. And I'm telling you, it's an exciting time to be a Clemson Tiger right now. First, welcome. Glad you're hanging out with me here today. If you're new here, hope you will subscribe. I'm an independent, so yeah, it helps. Drop me a thumbs up in here and a line. Let me know you're in here. I do appreciate you being with me today. Clemson has the number 2 recruiting class according to 24/7 Sports. And in fact, I'm going to share the screen so you can see it for yourself. Now, the Tigers, the last really good recruiting class that they had was in 2021. In 2021, they had guys like, I don't know. They had guys like Will Shipley, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Tristan Lee, Barrett Carter, Nate Wiggins, Phil Maffa. I could keep going. And that was the last really good recruiting class that Clemson had. Now, this past recruiting class, it was kind of small, but still, it was not. Still, if you have a small recruiting class, you better be going after some big dogs then because it's a small recruiting class. And I know a lot of people like to swirl around the toilet bowl of arguing about that. But there's really a question, what is going on in Clemson? Will we return to elite level recruiting? And right now the answer is, it looks like it. Absolutely. So over the weekend, we had a bunch of commitments. I want to say 7 total, including Caden Gebhardt today. But let's lead off with Chancellor Barclay. Chancellor Barclay committed to Clemson just a few days ago. And this guy is coming out of out of Florida. For some reason, I said Miami. I'm reading Orlando right here. He committed out of Orlando. He's the number 15 player overall in the state of Florida. Now, if you're the number 15 player in the state of North Dakota, good for you. But it's nothing like being the number 15 player in the state of Florida, Texas, Georgia, California. But he commits to Clemson. Having someone like Matt Luke here to develop him, and sure, and I want to pause here and say this about everyone who's committed to Clemson and what's going on in college football. NIL, great, you're going to get paid in college, but that money, even if you are a high earner in college, that money pales in comparison to the money that you can earn in the NFL. So, if these guys are thinking about going to the next level and making stupid money, you're going to want to work with someone who knows what they're doing, and Matt Luke is that guy. If you're an offensive lineman, you got to work with that guy. I said this yesterday. I've said this a lot. Georgia fans will make fun of Clemson for several reasons. Insert one. But when you bring up Matt Luke, they go, okay, that guy's really good. That guy's brilliant. Chancellor Barclay, I believe one of the main reasons he's coming to Clemson is because of Matt Luke. I don't know all the inside story. Maybe he grew up a Clemson fan. I don't know, folks. Enlighten me. But if I had a son that was an offensive lineman, I would want him to work with Matt Luke because he is a guru. He's brilliant. We saw what he did with the offensive line this year. I mean, it was an about face. It matters, folks. It matters. And I'm very excited about that. Connor Salmon, the kid committed to us out of the state of Maryland. And a lot of people were talking about Naeem Burrows. Remember, if you go to 24/7 Sports, then you switch over to On3 or you switch over to ESPN or whatever board you're watching, guys are going to be ranked differently. I think On3 has Naeem Burrows as the number 5 player in the state of Florida. Here, he's the number 22 player, ranked player in the state of Florida. Okay, all right. Either way, here's what we need to boil that down to. If you're a critic of Clemson and you can't stand them, even when they were great, and you know who you are, you just don't like them. Clemson could win 100 games in a row and 10 national championships in a row, and you would still be muttering something under your breath about how you don't like Clemson. Okay, I get it. There's teams for me that I don't like. There's coaches out there I don't like. Everybody else is going, "They're such a great guy." And I'm like, I don't know about that. But if you're a person that doesn't like Clemson, you're going to go with the lower ranking. If you're someone who loves Clemson, you're going to go with the higher ranking. But we're literally at splitting hairs here with Connor Salmon and Naeem Burrows. Now, Connor Salmon, believe it or not, is a fast, shifty guy. I want to say he has a couple of state championship rings in track. This guy is not slow. Naeem Burrows, Florida wanted him. Florida pays a lot of money for players, folks. They're very open about that. They wanted Naeem Burrows. Clemson got him. Clemson got the commitment. So imagine those two guys come into Clemson in 2026, and you have Wesco and Moore sitting in front of them. And they get to spend time with Wesco and Moore. And the weight of performance, like it was on Wesco and Moore this year, would not be on them in their freshman year. Think about that. That's a big deal. They get to actually learn from the two geniuses, and whoever else will do well at Clemson, and these guys will reap the benefit. It's a big deal. Caden Gebhardt, talked about him just a moment ago. Caden Gebhardt chose Clemson over a ton of schools. Ohio State, Penn State, State Penn, Ole Miss, all of this. This guy cited Tom Allen. First words, if you go read the articles that are online talking about Caden Gebhardt's comments about his commitment, starts off with Tom Allen. Coaching matters, folks. Whether it's on the field, whether it's in development, whether it's in scheme, whether it's in making adjustments within the game or at halftime, whatever, or recruiting. Coaching matters. Tavion Wilson committed to Clemson back in November. Glad to have him. Adam Guthrie committed to Clemson over the past few days. 6'7", 285 out of Ohio. Grant Wise committed to Clemson over the past few days. Inside offensive lineman, 6'3", 310 pounds, committed to the Tigers. Clemson got a commitment from Marcel Gibson out of South Oak Cliff in Texas. That guy, if you're a 3-star in Texas, you're probably much better than most people. And I know I skipped over some players here. I really wanted to focus on the ones that we just got the commitment from Clemson or to Clemson over the past few days. Number 2 overall ranking right now. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to go back to this. And I want to chat about this for just a moment. I believe that this recruiting of top wide receivers, bringing in good, solid offensive linemen, working with Matt Luke, will eventually address our quarterback situation, because we do. And I'm going to talk about that on another. We do have an issue at quarterback. I'm going to talk about that in another video. But what has changed? Dabo Swinney's approach to college football. It has changed. Now, when you think about change, a lot of people think about a drastic change. You'll hear the term, this person did a 180 in their life, completely turned around. But for the long haul, all you really have to do is just change a little bit. And as you go and as you move forward, things can change a lot over time in a good way or a bad way. Now we're focusing on the good way here. Swinney needed to bring in the best coaches possible. And Caden Gebhardt referenced Tom Allen. All right? Do we get Caden Gebhardt if Tom Allen's not at Clemson? I don't know, folks. I don't know. I lean towards no. Do we get those offensive linemen if Matt Luke's not at Clemson? I don't know. I don't know. One of the selling points that you have to remember, I know everybody wants to focus on Dabo, or everybody wants to focus on 16 and 18 or 6 consecutive playoff appearances, or that Clemson just went to the playoff. You can do that. And that's, that's your prerogative, so to speak. But here's what I want to make clear. Who you have on your sidelines matters in so many different areas of the game, whether it's scheming, development, strategy, whatever. But it works in recruiting as well. And we are seeing this right now, and it's giving Clemson the number 2 recruiting class for 2026. Let's talk about the negative for a moment, because I want to address this. When you or I or anyone talks about commitments, we need to admit that someone can decommit. We know this. We know that not everyone who committed to Clemson for the 2025 cycle stay with Clemson. We had some guys, including a quarterback, decommit and go somewhere else. With that said, Clemson really does well at retaining their commitments. So the vast majority of these guys will end up at Clemson, and Clemson will have to recruit them all the way to the point that they're unloading their moving trucks in Clemson. So the other side of that argument, and most of that argument's coming from critics of Clemson, people that don't like Clemson no matter what. People who look like they were going to hang themselves the night Clemson beat Alabama by 28 points in the national championship. I'm talking about those people. They're going to harp on that. Players can decommit. Well, duh. We know this. But let's flip to the positive side of this. That is just as realistic. You cannot get a person to sign if they won't even commit to you. Clemson got them to commit to them. And momentum it's a darn good thing. The more momentum that you have, and there's players right now that may be on the fence about committing to Clemson, and they see Gebhardt. Maybe they went to a camp with him. Maybe they were like, I liked working out with Neem Burrows. I'd love to be a teammate with him. Yeah, I'll probably go to Florida and play with him. And then you realize Burrows is not going to Florida. He's going to Clemson. All of a sudden, their perception of Clemson changes because a few guys says, hey, I know you thought I was going here. I decided to go to Clemson. It also sets up a scenario between those players that are going to Clemson, players that they will play with at Clemson, and then coaches like Matt Luke and Tom Allen that are at Clemson now. They step back and they say, I think I changed my mind. I think the situation in Clemson is actually much more attractive to me than what I thought. It looks like they're truly becoming a contender again. They're not, there's no question about it. I would like to go play for that team. I would like to play in that environment. I'd like to play with those players. Folks, this happens all the time. And I think that's going to set up a prime opportunity to fix the quarterback situation that I see there. Again, I'm going to talk about that in another video. But folks, if you're a Clemson Tiger, this is a great day for you. If you are someone who hates Clemson just because you can't stand them, this is a very bad day for you, and you're clawing for any lazy insult to try to kick Clemson in the butt, pull their underwear over their head, and shove them out the door. But last I checked, Clemson is doing well on the recruiting trail. Last I checked, Clemson, let me rephrase that, Dabo Swinney is hiring guys like Tom Allen. He brought in Matt Luke. We saw the immediate effect there. Garrett Riley, I'm still watching him, but he seems to be getting things going. He's someone that I'm holding my breath with right now, Clemson. And I'm going to leave that there. But there's a lot of pieces it seems like it's coming into place for Clemson for the present and the future. And if all of this does, if it comes together, we very well could see the return to Clemson being elite, legitimately elite, for a long period of time. We'll see. Get into the comment section, say hello to a few people. David Woody, what's going on, my brother? Good to see you, my friend. And David Woody, thanks for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. I see the symbol there beside your name. Folks, that means he supports $3 or $5 per month. I do appreciate that. There's a join button below the video, folks, if you want to do that. At least subscribe. That's free. Thanks, David Woody. Pete, now we just need a QB1 to emerge after Cade is gone. Yep. Number 2 for real. Yeah, for reals, my friend. I remember just a few months ago reading in the chat, hearing people expressing concerns for 2026. I just kept thinking, calm down, we got some time. I was probably one of those people as well, Dell. But you know how you change perception? By accomplishment. And when accomplishment shows up on the scene, or evidence of things changing, an overwhelming amount of evidence, like hiring Allen and hiring Matt Luke, and these players wanting to come on, sign on, or commit to Clemson, Will Helt committing to Clemson out of the transfer portal. When you see that, it's much more believable. I don't blame you for your response there, but with Clemson football, I'm majorly at the show me state, and right now they're showing me a lot. Have they shown me everything? No. But they're showing me a lot, and I think we can exhale a little bit. Dale, thanks for supporting the channel. I see the symbol beside your name. You're always a friend of the show. Thanks. Jeff, against the machine, people like Feinbaum. Yeah, Feinbaum, I think he about hung himself when Clemson won by 4 touchdowns that night. Thanks for supporting the show. I see that. SEC Dog, recruits going to take the tater bag and transfer next year like Texas A&M players did to Dumbo. SEC Dog, good to see you in here talking some good Georgia trash. Failed venture studio reality. 3 teams paid over $30 million for a roster last year. Yeah, 3 teams did, and only one of them won. And I think that, this is a subject for another video, failed venture studio. I'm glad you're in here. The market may dictate the price of how much these schools are willing to pay at first to these players, but I think that a lot of schools, it will take time, will eventually learn their lesson that offering $10 million to a kid coming out of high school to play quarterback for you, I don't know, Miami and Florida, probably not a good idea. Yeah, I would probably rather give that money to someone in the transfer portal who's played the game and proven that they can handle the speed of the college game. Also, I think that after this whole experiment kind of levels out, you may see some of the money level out based on who's really worth what. everyone in their mind's more valuable than what they really are in most cases. A lot of people are think they're worth $5 million in NIL money when they're probably only worth $750,000. I've met some very conceited people in my life that if I could buy them for what they were worth and sell them for what they thought they were worth, that's an old statement if you've ever heard that, I'd be a rich man. It means that people can become cocky and arrogant and feel like they are something that they're good, but they're not great. And so I think that that's going to pan out over the next 5 years to where maybe we stop seeing money just thrown around unless a player is really, really, really worth it. So I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time Failed Venture Studio. Rusty Breaks in here, new member. Rusty Breaks, thanks for becoming a member and supporting the channel. $3 or $5 per month. That's very kind of you. I really do appreciate it. Folks, if you haven't subscribed, remember, I'm just an independent over here, hanging out, talking about my favorite team, talking college football, jawing with people. It's a good time. If you like that sort of thing, I hope you'll subscribe. It is, listen to me, free. Yeah. Y'all take care of yourself. I'm happy for the Tigers. More good things are to come. Hopefully we stay on this trajectory, and I think we could see some great days ahead for Clemson. And I'm not just talking about 2025. I'm talking about beyond. So y'all take care of yourself, and as always, go Tigers.